Watch. Turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake.
Hello. I'm a bender.
Who the hell are you anyway?
I'm a bender.
I saved the whole of reality from you. I am
a bender. Call me the bender.
This is Zoe, Jamie, and I'm
a bender.
Might I suggest you just call me
a bender?
No, I'm the
bender. Oh, please don't call me human. Just B-E-N-D-E-R. Bender. How do you do, sir? I'm a bender.
Her name is Tegan, Your Majesty. This is Turlo, and I'm
a bender.
No, actually, I am known as
a bender.
Now that we're all here, let me introduce myself. I am
a bender. I'm a bender.
And who are you?
What are you going to do with a bender?
Do you know what I see, Doctor?
A bender.
I walked in universes where the laws of physics were devised by the mind of
a bender.
Basically, run.
Start the car.
Yeah, hello, and welcome to WhoTF Live. It is, of course, the same old show where we dissect, discuss, and deliberate over all of the disgust and the dross and occasional decency from Doctor Who. We have a couple of guests, but we'll get to that because there have been some technical issues. So, as normal, I will start with the regular panelists, Mr. Ryan Roger Athame, Mr. Golden Age Geek, Mr. Rev Ravenwolf, and Mr. Grant Gregory. Ryan, would you like to say hello?
Oh my, well, hello everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and it's great to see you all watching today. Yes, we do have some special guests. Price, whose microphone does work, and Triple D, whose microphone might not work because he's coming to us live from the Soviet Union. So here's to a great show about topics of the day, especially Doctor Who related. Oh my goodness. Live from the 1980s, Triple D, Divas, Dinosaurs, and Tranny Demons. Oh no, sound? I said it.
Okay, I think we have sound. I'll introduce the guest.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, can hear. Awesome. All
Excellent.
Right.
I get one free pass.
Okay, Ryan, finish your outro, intro, pass it on, and we'll go.
We're going to talk about probably one of the best series of New Who ever, and we're going to rank it. So, yeah. Moving on to Goldie, whose brand new avatar is covered up by Will's symbol. Oh, not anymore. Oh, no.
Yeah. So,
hello,
hello
it's
everyone.
Covered up again.
Oh, thank you, Will. Yeah, so it's great to be back here again. We're going to be reviewing Series 4 of New Who, which is arguably the most consistent, and it's funnily enough, it's the one that I've revisited the least. But you know that's kind of a gift in many ways, because when I do go back to rewatch it, I will have a great time. But yeah, it will be amazing to rank the series with you fine folks. And yeah, on to Rev, I believe.
That's right.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. We are back with more Doctor Who fun and games. Ryan is not captured yet by the British police, but he's at home. Go get him. So I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to be talking about season 4. Yes. It'll be a fun time. There'll be thrills, there'll be tears, there'll be a whole lot of stuff. But welcome. And now over to Grant.
Hello, thanks for everyone for being here. Yeah, this is definitely the season of all seasons, I do believe. It has I think 3 two-parters in it and a 3-parter. Yeah, so it was definitely the one that was, if cohesion was their goal, that they went for it in spades this season. It also has one of my favorite bottle episodes in the series in it. So yeah, looking forward to arguing to the death about why certain episodes are good and why some are bad.
It's just damn good fun. So yeah, as I said, we do have a couple of guests. Originally, we were just going to have Divas, Dinosaurs, and Demons, but there were some technical issues, which I think are resolved now. So, are you there, sir? Triple D?
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what was going on there. It was an absolute nightmare. My laptop's worse, but thankfully I've got it working now, so I can bore you with all my opinions about this for the next couple of hours.
Not a problem. Well, thanks and welcome. And of course, apparently was going to be filling in, but now we have 2 guests, so we're very lucky to also have Price of Reason with us. Say hello, sir. Oh, he's gone. Well, there you go, guys. That's what happens when you are live. So
Fuck
I
this
guess we'll
shit,
just,
Armo.
find out what the hell happens on the next.
Price disappeared.
Well, it's just going to be one of those nights, but it doesn't really matter. As usual, I do tend to like to ask our guests about their personal experience with Doctor Who, how they came to be in the position that we all find ourselves in, where the show sucks now.
I was going to say, just before Burnshaw, gives his, introduction and sort of, background into Doctor Who, it'll be very interesting to have him give his opinions, because he is someone who, from all the conversations I've had with him, is very much more of a fan of the classic era and sort of views the new series with a bit of a different lens than, we do. So yeah, it'll be good to get his input on a lot of these stories.
Yeah, please do tell us all about your history with Doctor Who, if you don't mind, Burnshaw.
Yeah, great. Well, I was born in 1991, just after the original series ended, but I was introduced to it via video releases. I mean, honestly, I struggle to remember what my first story was, because it's just kind of always been there, if you know what I mean, in the background. It was always Doctor Who videos, and that's why whenever people go on about the wilderness years being this dark time, I'm thinking, that was actually a really, really good time for me. That was when I got to see all the old classics on video, and there was also some repeats on the telly. So I always grew up with it, and Golden Age Geeks, right, when the revival came along, I wasn't too keen on it at first. I didn't particularly like Christopher Eccleston. I thought he's kind of like a pound shop angel in terms of playing the role rather than the Doctor. But I did warm to it eventually, and I think Matt Smith was probably the best out of all the New Who guys. I think he really got the character right. But sadly, after he left, I think it just, well, we all know what happened. It went head first into petty backstage politics, and it just became a shell of itself. But that's been covered, So, but yeah, basically, the Golden Age Geeks, right? I think the classic era is still probably the best work of science fiction there's ever been. But I warmed to the revival. I think the first 7 years of it, they're really good, but they work better as a kind of loose sequel. Like they're not really believe the same show. They're better. It's kind of like, man, I don't mind that. I wouldn't have minded if they'd been a reboot, because you can't keep the classic continuity forever. It's like sooner or later the story has to end. But yeah, I appreciate them more as a loose sequel, so I'm happy to talk about it. I just finished a rewatch actually of the first 7 series.
All right, that's fantastic. And so you basically you're actually younger than I am a fair bit, but older than Ryan still. So that's fair. but you grew up. Whereas I was like missing most of the classic stuff in the middle of the wilderness years, and I ended up going back to it after the revival started. You were watching it all along, so for you that was Doctor Who until the revival came. So much like a classic Whovian. All right, well, that's fantastic. We're getting a little bit of breakup from your mic. I don't know if it's the internet or your microphone, but
Scotland, that's why.
Well, I mean,
reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
It's a third world country.
You can say what you like, but I mean, I'm Scottish by blood, so that's you know. Sorry, what?
It's a third world country, Scotland. It is, you know.
Yeah, more or less.
Now on to Price.
Yeah,
how are you, my good man?
Are you there, buddy?
I'm here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
yeah, we can hear you. We didn't manage to get an intro or anything from you, but
something weird happened, and it suddenly I got kicked out, and
that's weird. I'm not sure.
It was the
it's all haywire today. It's still not the worst stream I've ever had. The worst one would be where I had a power cut like 15 minutes into it, and we had to almost completely start again. But anyway, the question is, please introduce yourself and tell us about your history with Doctor Who, how you came to be in whatever position you're in now.
Well, I guess as a kid, from time to time, maybe I'd catch, you know, a random episode, but I didn't understand the classic series so much because I hadn't watched all the seasons. It was just a strange thing that I'd sometimes, you know, occasionally see. And later I got into the revival, but at some point, actually, John the White, who I befriended, of course, rest in peace, and he told me that I have to go back and watch all the classic episodes, and he was kind of like a guide for me because I sat and watched the entire. I mean, this happened over a while, but I watched all the classic episodes. And along the way, I had so much kind of day-to-day commentary and conversations with John the White about it, who was a friend of mine. And he's part of the reason that I really grew to like this franchise so much.
Right.
When you saw how excited he was about everything, it was kind of infectious. And I would be in all of his groups and all of his, you know, probably with some of you, always talking about this series.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's some of my background.
That's cool. So what did you make of the, let's say, from about 2016 till now? That's not controversial years.
I can't anything after Capaldi's last episode I can't take seriously. It's like when you watch Star Trek and you see Star Trek Discovery and somebody says, well, this is Star Trek. I mean, you could say that, but I mean, does anybody really think that that's Star Trek? And that's the same way I feel about Doctor Who. From the second, and it's not just because Jodie was a woman. I just think that they made the Doctor a woman, but then they did everything wrong. The storytelling was poor, and if RTD had a chance to sort of save it with Ncuti Gatwa, I don't think he did. He somehow managed to make it worse. I didn't think it was possible to make it worse than Jodie, and I think he managed to do it.
Yeah, it's a real contentious one. I mean, most people generally agree that around about halfway through or 2/3 of the way through the Capaldi run, the quality started to dip, the politics started to creep their way in. I think most people cite Clara Oswald being less of an assistant and more of a girl boss.
Yes, the girl who's the key to everything. Once they did that thing where they pasted her with old footage, incorporated her into kind of classic Who footage, talking to Doctor. Do you know what I'm talking about? That they kind of injected her. So
and that's. I'll let you finish, then I'll comment on it.
No, just please open discussion. I don't care. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, on the one hand, it is easy to say that Stephen Moffat made Clara a girl boss by doing that stuff in The Name of the Doctor. However, I'm not keen to jump on that bandwagon. The reason I say that is because I thought that initially, but the reason he did that, the reason he made her so important and so influential and so powerful to in comparison, well, sort of. he made her so influential to the Doctor's story. The reason he did that was because at the time, when the 50th was coming up, he didn't know who was going to be in it because Matt Smith's contract had run out. No one else was signed on for it apart from Jenna Coleman. So he kind of did have to elevate her to a position where it would make sense that she's doing all this stuff in a Doctor Who story if he'd had to have just written a story featuring her. However, everything afterwards, with season 8 and season 9 kind of does support that idea that she was being made into a girl boss. I think that was kind of like the first instance of, girl bossing in Doctor Who, and he could have diverted after that, but yeah, he stuck on with it. And I think in general, most of it comes down to politics, but also Moffat was doing Sherlock, Class, he was doing all these other projects. His eyes weren't really on Doctor Who anymore. He kind of lost touch with it. And as you say, that Moffat magic kind of got stripped away because I feel like his involvement was less and less every single year afterwards.
But in his defense, I will just say that at least Jenna Coleman was easy on the eyes, if nothing else.
Hell yeah.
So at least he had that going for him. And also, for me, I think that the turning point was actually the introduction of Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it was
I didn't mind Bill at the time. And I know people now say every episode she, was bringing up the fact that she's a lesbian. Yeah, I get that. At the time, I didn't really notice that, though. I think the reason why I liked Bill initially was because she was a break from Clara, because we'd had Clara for so long. So, when we had someone that wasn't Clara, I kind of just felt a bit refreshed, and I wasn't really looking too much at that.
Yeah, because they dragged that out over several years. They were like, Clara was actually not in that many episodes, but because the series was split, like series 7 was split in half and played over 2 years, and the Day of the Doctor was like halfway through. Or no, it was at the end. Sorry, but the series was split in half, and it was just chaotic. It seemed like a really long time. So I can absolutely get that. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Series 8, though, it's fine because this is something that's kind of been lost to history. Was a lot of people completely forget this. Back from in circa 2011 to 2013, there was a huge backlash against Stephen Moffat for being sexist allegedly. And what makes it so funny? The arseholes like Mr. TARDIS, who now like all you guys grifters, they rose to fame on that backlash against Stephen Moffat. They were all going on about how sexist he was. In fact, they were even accusing him of being a rape apologist at certain points. And so I feel Series 8, and it's annoying people have just forgotten this. Series 8 was him trying to make it up to those fans because the backlash really reached a peak when he dared to cast Peter Capaldi, another straight white man, in the role. And what was the first thing he did? I know, and Golden Age Geek will know this is a real pet peeve of mine, but the first thing he did was bring the Master back as a woman. And he hadn't brought the Master back for 3 years. He hates the character. And literally the first thing he does after that backlash is that. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say from the start of the Capaldi era was when the politics started to creep in. It was Stephen Moffat basically responding to the backlash, and he sold us out basically.
But that's
it's political correctness, of course, isn't it? Sorry, is that you, Rev? You trying to say something?
The whole thing with that with Bill's character was that it was kind of, we want to bring Ace back without bringing Ace back. So how are we going to do this? We're going to find somebody who kind of has that kind of personality, but we're not going to call her Ace. We're going to call her Bill Potts, and she's going to be a lesbian. But the original plan was they wanted to do like a modern version of Ace.
No, I didn't mind her preferences, but the fact you have to at least, I'm going to be a dick here, I'm sorry, but she has to be more easy on the eyes. You know what I mean? I don't care. I don't care.
I agree, man. I completely agree.
And it's not the diversity either, because if you look at Martha, I think that's a case where she was diverse, but she was easy on the eyes. And
yeah, she's pretty.
She was.
It certainly helps. It's not that I need them all to be supermodels or anything like that, but I feel like it's not bad to have a companion that's not terrible looking.
Yeah,
I disagree with that. Only because by that logic, you could say the same about the doctors, and then we're limited to pretty boy doctors. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't have obviously good-looking companions, but and then also that's a subjective thing. I mean, I thought Bill was perfectly okay looking. It's a subjective thing, really.
I mean, Moffat caught shit in the beginning because of casting Karen Gillan. Because Karen Gillan is ridiculously hot. She's a very, very attractive lady, and she was walking around in leggings and a miniskirt for most. That was like pretty much her bog standard costume, variations of that.
I felt good about that.
Yes, I enjoyed that very much, as did most other people. And very quickly, she became a Hollywood star and didn't need Doctor Who anymore because, again, easy on the eyes. Nothing wrong with that. Perfectly natural. Stephen Moffat, I maintain to this day, is not woke, does not believe in all this bullshit, and has to just go along with it, which is why he's quoted as saying, we have to tell lies like there were black people in Middle Ages England, like when there obviously weren't. But I'm sure he caught even more shit for the fact that even when he tried to play the game in saying, oh, we'll make a better world where everybody was diverse in history, he actually used the phrase, we have to tell a bit of a lie, which, is it automatically throws the whole formula under the bus. So I'm pretty sure Moffat is just a poor, confused, middle-aged at the time guy who loves Doctor Who and suddenly found himself running afoul of all this, what we now call woke.
Moffat's wife's a feminist. So I say Moffat's wife's a feminist. So
yeah, but it depends what wave, doesn't it? Because you can be a first or second wave feminist and still cohabit quite handily with men. Most of us are like, yeah, you can have a job and you can vote and stuff like that. No problem, whatever.
I mean, Moffat is probably like a woke version 1.0, whereas RTD and his friends Chibnall and all those are like version 3.0.
Grant's wife told him, no, you can't be on this show now.
Yeah,
no,
that's happening right there. Yeah.
My goodness, Price had to dip out. I mean,
Don't worry,
B's
it's just
been having
it's
audio issues. My father shouted an obscene phrase before I could mute my microphone. All sorts of crazy things are happening.
I'm still here, though, right?
You're good. You're good. You guys are both good. Who knows? It might be me next. I live in the Philippines. Who fucking knows?
The other thing with Chibnall is he made that stupid choice of introducing the fam.
I mean, that was just cringe. The whole concept of that was cringe.
I mean,
because it's postmodern and it's diverse, isn't it? Fam is in England. If someone is fam, then you are probably at least.
And people haven't pointed out the sort of the stereotypical nature of that. When he made the dynamic the TARDIS. Well, not trio, because there was 4 of them, when he labeled that the fam, because then you have Ryan, not this Ryan, the black one. Isn't that kind of a bit like stereotypical? You have this black man going around calling, his group of friends fam.
Fam, yeah. It's a stereotype.
So, I've said this for ages.
So I didn't realize we had Tiny Temper running around with the Doctor. Yeah, go on.
If you look back on Rosa, that episode just screams like white knight, male feminist vibes, because you have a disruption in the timeline, which means that Rosa no longer stands up she stands up for herself on the bus, and the only way they can fix that is by having this white Karen feminist go and scream at her saying, you need to do better, you need to stand up for your people, and then she does it. Like
she can't do it without the Karen, right?
Yeah, you got to have the Karen action.
So there you go. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot wrong with it. I don't mind. We can spend quite a long time right now just rinsing over the Whittaker era and the Gatway era. And Grant's back. Hello, mate.
There's a clear and present decline that can be seen over a period anywhere between 6 to 10 years in regards to Doctor Who, and it's yet more living proof that stories have to end.
Well, I mean, there's definitely an element of that, and I think someone was saying earlier on, as a sequel, the reboot the revival might have been better, but I guess the shit hit the fan, like I said, with Karen Gillan being cast. Like, oh, how dare you have an attractive woman? And it's like, well, Billy Piper's an attractive woman. Why didn't you care about that?
It was. Sorry, I didn't
mate,
interrupt. I was just saying there's. No. I was going to say was I agree with it. Sorry, he's going back and forth. The Karen Gillan thing's even more hypocritical because a lot of the people that complained about that, they're the same ones that are now all supporting Gooty, who's running around in even more sexualized.
That's another way of saying his name. Shooty, Gooty, Cutty, Misero. What the fuck is going on?
His name is Misero, which we think is fucking hilarious because he cries in every episode.
Oh god, he doesn't have.
Now, of course, we're going to have even more drag queens coming up in the next season.
Supposedly, no, it won't be in the next season. They were at Comic-Con, and I did a bit about it where they were.
Well, actually, I don't know, Will, because in some of the set photos you can see Maestro, the name Maestro, plastered on some walls or something like that. So I think we're going to be seeing that character again.
Oh, that character, sure, but the drag queens that they were listing off were like Bag of Chips and people like that. I don't know. That's the only name I remember.
What's your name? Bag of Chips? Okay.
I made a video about it earlier this week where they were at Comic-Con and some douchebag from Collider was asking them, some sycophant was like, oh, well, can we get more drag queens? Who would you have on the show? And then they went and reeled off a bunch of names that don't sound like they belong to human beings. Because, well, let's be fair, they've long since abandoned their humanity. So,
the most cringe video I saw come out of Comic-Con was this video from one of these shill places, whether it's Collider or some other place. And the title was RTD does a quiz with a Doctor Who super fan, and it's like, who's the most knowledgeable about Doctor Who? And the questions were absolutely pathetic, and you could tell it was this incredibly staged thing, because it was like, question 1, who plays the 15th Doctor? And RTD's there going, now that's a hard question. I can't think for the life of me. And he's like, oh yeah, it's Shooty Gatwa. And it's like, oh, piss off. It was the most staged cringe thing ever.
Okay, I need to see this and react to it. I
also came up with another story idea for a Doctor Who two-parter to get rid of Misero. It's Rise of the Monkeypox and the Age of Monkey.
Oh no, and we are demonetized now.
What the fuck? You think Super AIDS was back? Well, the chemist is back to create weaponized monkeypox. You have the doctor versus the chemist. That would really be something, folks.
My God.
Ryan would never be able to make it like within 50 miles of a Doctor Who writer's room.
Yeah, restraining order.
Cancelled, like. Oh, it's hard. Whatever the next stage on from cancelled is, I'm not sure. Hung or something.
Cancer. Dobby knows all about it.
Oh, shut
Cancelled leads to, I guess, arrest, literal arrest at this point. Like you're in jail, and etc. etc. Yeah, but yeah. So like basically the sexism shit. It started. It actually has like everybody remembers the rise of woke from like the Last Jedi and things like that, but it happened in Doctor Who way before that.
Yeah,
everybody remembers Gate and things like that as the start of all this, but it was in Doctor Who even before that, because again people were having this like moral panic about Karen Gillan having nice legs. So what does Moffat do? He doubles down and he casts Jenna Coleman, who's also very pretty, to play Clara. But instead of, and at first she was very likable character. I liked her a lot, but again, once Capaldi came in, it became like, oh, I'm his carer. I have to take care of Granddad Doctor because he doesn't understand how to talk to humans anymore, and it was extremely cringe and annoying. Go on.
Everything for the most part in the Moffat era, and people used to say this in forums and things like that. A Moffat episode would feel like, when you saw a Moffat episode, you kind of viewed Moffat as having written it with one hand and his other hand doing something else, if you know what I mean. And it's quite easy to see why. And I think that I think that leans into the whole sort of he tried to make up for that, or the perception of that later on. Because if you look back at his era, you had like Amy Pond, who, as you say, was very pretty, and then River Song was always in tight leather, and you had like what was her name,
Yeah.
Vastra
He
and
likes
Jenny.
ladies. He's a red-blooded man. There's
and-
nothing wrong with having pretty women when you're a
and then-
red-blooded man writing a TV show. Who gives a fuck?
And then you
right?
also had, you know, the lesbian couple always getting it on and things like that. So it did come off as a massive like dream of his for most of the time. So yeah,
What's
I
wrong with
don't.
that?
I think
Nothing.
His other
Irene
shows
Adler
suffered
was-
too, by the way.
What's that?
I think that Sherlock also suffered from him overextending himself. The first season of Sherlock was good, but then every additional season wasn't so good.
It was
I think he did kind of start to exhaust himself as well as a writer. He started to maybe run out of ideas and recycle one or two.
Did anyone remember his version of Irene Adler? Because that was real, like, hand down the pants writing. She was a dominatrix and she was a lesbian, but Sherlock cured her. Sherlock, no, seriously, it was literally cure for lesbianism as Benedict Cumberbatch's cock. That was basically the moral.
I'm sorry, I'm 25. I don't want to have that visualized in my head.
Fair enough. But
You look
it was
60.
So cringe.
You
That's what really
look like
actually-
an expat who looked for
I
a
am.
sugar mother or something. I don't know. Can we move on to talking
So you
about
leave
will
out
say-
our Asian
Ryan
representation
destroyed
alone, Ryan.
himself.
My
I
goodness.
mean, we're talking about age. I have to say, like Russell T Davies, for 61 years old, does, you know, he probably has a good team behind him, because I mean, you know, he doesn't look
Right.
that old,
Yeah,
does he?
it's
So, you know.
adrenochrome. How many
Plenty
times
of
do I have to
people behind
say
him.
this? It's adrenochrome.
I'm surprised you didn't turn that into a Goldie is gay joke.
He
considering
is
that's kind of-
gay.
He's not.
I don't think he is. I don't
My-
care anyway. If someone's
No,
gay,
I'm
they
not.
can. It's all right, Goldie. No, I'm
I'm
sure.
not though. That's the thing.
Okay,
I
man,
just
whatever.
like the way he says
Just
that.
be whatever you want to be, man. I
I-
don't care. It's all right. You're a real boy.
But
Um,
Goldie doesn't look like Ron Jeremy with short hair.
yeah, crackhead Ron Jeremy. Yeah, I know. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, we all saw it go down the pan with Jodie, with Chibnall. One of the first things, because I think it immediately it became a divisive issue with the shield tubers like Mr. Todd and all that. That you know, you're automatically sexist if you don't like Whitaker. We had this with Bolstrek when he was on the show, and I was watching him back in the day. I got shaken out of my malaise when I was watching the first Jodie episode, Woman Who Fell to Earth, and it was like 4:00 in the morning, and I was in the Philippines already, so I had to go looking. And when I found it, I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. I'll give it a chance, I suppose, even though we all saw the writing on the wall already. And I was stunned by not only the fact that she sucked as the Doctor, because she was just basically doing an impression of other better doctors, but because the whole production was rotten to the core. The music was arse. The effects seemed to have gone downhill. Everything was trash. They didn't even have an intro sequence. It's like they were trying to subvert everything. What were your guys' reaction to that? I mean, we haven't
Well,
even got
as-
Grump.
Like when
Well, I'll let everyone else get on to that, but I just wanted to quickly say, you know, when I saw The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and I've said this many times before, like when I saw Series 11, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like either. It was this weird sort of apathy because it kind of felt so disconnected from anything else that was Doctor Who. So, but yeah, when I watched Woman Who Fell to Earth, I just felt like blank because it didn't resemble Doctor Who in the slightest, and Jodie didn't come off as the Doctor. I was in total disbelief that, she's playing the Doctor. And of course you have fucking Tim Shaw. Like, what kind of villain is that? Tim Shaw who sticks human teeth on his body. I mean, what the fuck are we doing?
I really thought I dreamt that. I had to check it the next morning. I was like, was his name really Tim Shaw?
I mean, what a name for a bad guy, Tim Shaw. It sounds like the local bloke down the pub. Have you met my mate
sounds like
Tim?
the bloke
Tim Shaw,
who
yeah.
annoys
yeah.
everyone in the pub. Yeah, it does.
He's really into teeth.
He's the local dentist, and you see him down the pub, and he tells you stories you don't want to hear. Yeah, that guy.
Chibnall has chronic lack of imagination. I mean, it annoys me when people even act like he's political. He just jumps on whatever fads are,
Yeah.
you know, nearby. Like when he did Torchwood, the fad was to make it hotter and sexier. And so he threw in all this cringe-inducing stuff like cyber tits and monsters that feed on.
Yeah, I didn't really rate the amount of sex in Torchwood. Carry on.
He did the same. So he did the same as Doctor Who. He just jumped on all the shallow political talking points of the day. So it's like he's got no imagination when it comes to monsters or anything like that. It's tragic.
And this is the guy who had the nerves to go on national TV and say Doctor Who is, running out of ideas. It's all just silly monsters now, and there's no imagination. And then he gave us exactly that.
And then the stupidest thing was space dogs. We're overgrown space dogs with guns, and it just turns out
the humanoid dog with a Yorkshire accent. It's like, what the fuck are we doing?
What the fuck are you doing with this like space dog? It was just and then with the woman who fell to earth, she like, okay, I'm going to be the new Doctor, and do you know how to make a sonic screwdriver? No, don't know. Neither do I. I'm just going to bang some shit together. And guess what? I got my sonic screwdriver. And then you have the really dumbest outfit. Like, it had to copy all the other Doctors. So she's got like the suspenders and like the rainbow things. And I was like, dude, really?
I think that there's a difference between being a writer and a science fiction writer. And Chibnall, if you look at Broadchurch, that's fine. If you like that, there's a murder, there's some drama. It's almost like soapy drama between people and a murder. It's fine. It's serviceable enough. But once you try to do science fiction, you actually have to know something about world building, be creative, have these kind of innovative ideas. And Chibnall is none of those things, especially without any
countdown into it. That's the Chibnall way. Just add a countdown into it, an arbitrary countdown every episode, and then that builds tension.
That is the Chibnall formula, isn't it?
And he inserted all that kind of personal drama because he doesn't know anything else. So you had the will they, won't they with the Doctor and Yaz, or all this weird crap.
Oh, I hope they don't.
I don't date anyone, but if I would date someone, it would be you.
Yeah,
By the way,
that's pretty cringe, isn't it?
You had that.
Do you guys know that Chibnall, they killed in Classic Who, they killed an avatar of Chris Chibnall in the story Great Galaxy, because remember he'd been on TV slagging them off, and there's a character called WizKid that represents the fans, and it was modelled on Chibnall, and he gets killed horribly. So they actually killed an avatar of Chris.
I never realized that. That's actually brilliant. Yeah, makes sense.
Google WizKid Doctor Who, you'll see it looks exactly like, and it was based. I mean, it's based on lots of them, but it's based partially on him.
Yeah, I call them chin balls because it's easier to say than
because everyone does.
Because his writing style just relegated Doctor Who into the dire position that led to the BBC going, "Yeah, we're going to cancel this," and then Disney came along with.
Well, they were going to cancel it.
Yeah, they were.
A lot of people like the shield tubers that we've mentioned already. They tend to insist that the show was actually fine, and it wasn't. There were articles written about how the show was on its last legs. There was a high chance that the BBC were going to cancel it, but then they managed to
but then they brought back a Dalek for one episode, and they saved the series after saying we're not going to revisit any monsters. This is a completely new series. Oh shit, better get a Dalek in.
Losing 7 million. Losing 7 million viewers in the span of 6 years is not a success by any metric. If a YouTuber, if a content creator had lost that kind of support over 6 years, that's one hell of a bleed out, folks. And I have never seen any content creator lose that much support.
I mean,
7 million
worse.
Subscribers in 6 years?
It's worse.
Wait a minute.
It's worse than that because it's not just 7 million. It's a percentage, right? We're talking about 70% of the absolute best that you've ever done. Like, I think.
And then you had that.
What?
You just froze and went silent for about 15 seconds.
No, I could hear him.
Oh, I'm okay. I think it was you, mate.
Was that just me? Was that just me?
It was you.
Yeah, I think so. It
Yeah.
happened
Oh
to me
fuck!
earlier.
I think I'm the next to be kicked out of the stream.
I think you're next, mate. Yeah, no, it's because the UK is tearing itself apart right now. But don't worry, I'm good and
I mean,
safe here
I'm
in
heard it. I'm
Southeast
just happy to
Asia.
gaslight Goldie for a bit.
Scotland has shitty Wi-Fi. Wales is so much of a shithole. None of the foreigners want to live here. And Goldie is internet's crippling out in Hartlepool or wherever he lives. But the
But it's
point
okay,
is,
guys, because Will's fine over here in the third
I know.
fucking world.
I'd say second world with the Philippines. But in all seriousness, folks, there's definitely
Have you smelt
decline
Manila?
in.
You wouldn't be saying that.
Well,
Ah,
bribe them
this
with
guy
rice.
knows.
But the point I was going to make is you lose 7 million active viewers, 70% of your audience in the span of 6 years across a doctor or two. And then you've got Disney with their rescue package working with Sony through Bad Wolf alongside the BBC. You've got this alliance of 3 media titans, and they cannot ensure this franchise grows. It is still bleeding out in terms of support. 2025 will be the final year of Doctor Who, the final nail in Disney Who's coffin, and the sooner it dies, the better for all of our mental health.
Like, the stupid thing with Jodie Whittaker, what really crucified her was the fact they didn't leave the Earth once during her first season. It's like, hey, we're not going to bother to use a TARDIS that can go anywhere in space and time. No, we're going to stay on Earth and sort out Earth shit.
What are you talking about, Rev? There were plenty of stories not on Earth. You had the Ghost Monument, that was somewhere else. You had the Saranga Conundrum, which was on a spaceship.
But then they kept on going back to Earth, and it was like, oh look, spiders.
But even the
What
rest
about
of
Ransport out of Kolos?
are in space.
Wasn't there a
Series-
pregnant male?
I know.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
it was.
Series 1 of New Who, I
Patin.
believe, apart from one episode, or a few episodes rather, on a fucking space station, was all Earth-based. So, Dobby, I'm sorry for digging a grave for you, but you're absolutely wrong in regards to why Jodie Whittaker sucked and her entire run.
Also, John Pertwee, wasn't his tenure a lot of it was on Earth with UNIT or stuff like that because they wanted to cut costs?
But that was a unique spin on the character because they lost over half their budget.
Right.
Going into it, it was to stop them from being cancelled. They had to
And
basically
I
shoot
love
on the
that
same
era.
set over and over again.
I still love that era. I don't care that he's not as
era.
big.
He's great. I
Yeah.
just didn't like the fact that he'd use a gun. That's the only thing I didn't like about it.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people have.
They all use guns. That's a bit of I think a bit of a myth in classic Who, because see Tom Baker, he uses guns more than anyone. He loves guns.
Yeah, but that was an energy propelled weapon. That wasn't a gun. That's very different. He even states it.
No, in Talons of Wen Chang, remember he picks up a rifle and then they go on about
Oh yeah, he was passing it to someone. That doesn't count. I mean, it might have accidentally went off when he was holding it and pointing it at someone, but that doesn't.
And then he moans that it takes too long to reload. He would much
I
rather
like when he did karate.
Yeah, John Pertwee did.
26
one
years,
thing-
still died, folks. Disney Who, 20 years, 21 years, still died. It's living proof that everything, every franchise, every creative endeavor, just like every person, has its time to shine, and unfortunately, everything dies. And I
mean, there's
personally
an
think that
element
this show needs to die. Hopefully next year.
Oh, it does.
Well, as long as there's some sort of entropy involved, if the corpse can, evolve and change into something else, I think that would be good.
I mean, we
but I
have
don't think
corpse
that will.
representation on this show. Darby is here.
We probably need more time, meaning it needs to die, and then you need to give it about 5 years, maybe 10 years. Let a new creative team that actually cares about the real series, not these later seasons, and let them come back and maybe restart it in some way.
I agree, but the problem is the fans, right? Like, see, apart from us, sadly, we're on the fringes. Like, the official fandom is chock full of these lunatics. These, like, only care about the Doctor
Although I
being,
think it's 50-50 now.
to represent them. And
Look how
they're
many
going to probably
people wanted that relationship with the Doctor and Yaz. It was like everywhere. It's, are they going to get this relationship? Are they not going to get the relationship? It was getting like seriously.
Talk about You talk about Doctor Who fandom. At its peak, and Voyage of the Dam was the viewership peak of New Who off the top of my head. That was about more than 15 million viewers. And you talk about Doctor Who fandom in this day and age, there is no Doctor Who fandom. Doctor Who fandom died when Disney took over. It's Disney Who fandom. It's only in the few million, if that, and they'll be the last people watching this show when it hits under 7 figures. I understand that they're cutthroat, backstabbing little wankers, which is all the more reason for this franchise to fucking die.
You can't build on those.
The problem is that the mainstream viewers, they all abandoned it long ago, and even fans like us have pretty much abandoned it, other than to bitch at it. So the point is, when it's time to bring it back, the fandom will be made up of these, these arseholes, basically. Like, whereas the ones to bring it back were actual sci-fi fans, these will be the ones. And so the next revival could just be their shit again. It's really, really depressing. I hope not, but that is what it looks like.
I mean, not even Netflix is interested in Doctor Who. They've made that clear, because there was this comment that
used to be on there.
Would buy it.
Maybe Paramount can buy into. Oh wait, no, they can't.
And Disney are just right now, with everything going on at the parks, they're losing money anyway. They can't keep this shit going. I mean, the parks have come under incredible scrutiny. You've got death suits being filed, where you had one doctor that was killed in the park, and they're trying to get out of paying for the lawsuit.
Yeah, but he didn't read the fine print on when he
signed up
for Disney Plus.
Yeah, this guy got killed. The doctor got killed because he had an allergy, but then Disney trying to say, "Oh yeah, you subscribed for Disney Plus and you had like the free subscription or something. Therefore, we
own your corpse."
Yeah,
fucking hell.
But don't forget the fact that the BBC's Disney deal was actually not about Doctor Who, but in fact Bluey. It was all about getting Bluey on Disney Plus. That's what they wanted, and one of the terms was financing 2 seasons of Doctor Who. So
come to a Disney restaurant. It's a once in a lifetime experience.
And it's clearly not worked either, because during the run of the actual show, when we were all posting our reviews every single week and stuff like that, I was doing supplemental videos where I was going through the ratings and also through quite exhaustive means working out at least a ballpark of what the Doctor Who figures were. And they were 5 digits at best. Because I know for a fact that it didn't chart versus X show or Y show, but then X show only got, say, 80,000 views and still charted top 10 for all platforms, and Doctor Who didn't even chart top 6 for Disney.
You'd be amazed how few people actually watch streaming shows. It's getting to a point, folks, where you can add up some of your favorite pop culture panel shows together for a week, and it would amount to more people watching than actual streaming shows every week. The viewership is that low for these multi-million-dollar productions. I mean, the budget that's gone into Disney Who has been astronomical and eye-watering. It barely cost a dime to set up this show. Okay, scheduling is a bit of a pain, getting guests on. None of us are professionals, but we resonate little by little, creator by creator, from the most prominent to those just starting out, whether your audio quality is worth thousands or if it's reliant on shitty Scottish Wi-Fi. It's living proof that it takes all sorts to be a content creator, and that is why eventually we are going to bury these motherfuckers.
I mean, that's the thing. More people watch YouTube now than watch any streaming platform. The stupidest thing that the streaming platforms could possibly have done was saturate the market with 10 platforms where there were previously just 3. The whole thing was a bubble that was destined to burst. It was about who could survive it long enough. Disney will probably ride it out. Netflix, of course, will, because they're in pole position. Amazon, I don't know. They might give up if season 2 of Rings of Power does as badly as we think it will, and then it will start becoming like a survival game. Who's going to be around in 5 years?
The streaming system is not sustainable because it's the worst of television combined with the worst of films.
And
That
the
is
worst
what is
habits of
streaming-
people either, as well.
Right.
Binge watching is encouraged, and that is a terrible behavior to get yourself into. That should be the permit of cat ladies, pregnant women, and unemployed guys, not what you do over your weekend. It's not an event. Go and get a life, touch some grass, as Mr. Gatwa said.
The stupid thing with Amazon is they keep on attacking content creators over season 2. I did a video yesterday that didn't play any scenes, nothing from Rings of Power season 2, and they still tried to copyright strike me. All I was
They're
talking
striking
about
everything
was,
right now.
yeah, all I mentioned was, okay, their idea of turning Sauron into a good guy, in theory.
All the more reason, Dobby, to not talk about that fucking shit show. That's why I'm trying to encourage Dragon Slayer. Don't talk about Rings of Power. If
I don't
Amazon
know if he
really
knows
wants,
how to do that.
if Amazon really are doing in content creators who are just talking about their project, all the more reason for there to be a complete blackout on all coverage. If blackout is a racist term in 2024, you can go fuck yourself. If you have a complete content creator media blackout on Rings of Power season 2, watch how long it lasts. If it lasts, it proves that not talking about it doesn't work. And if it does fucking work, then no one should talk about Skeleton Crew, and hopefully Star Wars can finally fucking die. You never know. You never know.
Oh, I love it, because I really do. So even though I'm not the biggest fan of Star Wars, it's not like I cared as much as Doctor Who.
It's not real sci-fi; it's space fantasy.
Well, yeah. But it's the obnoxiousness from the Star Wars fans, like the woke ones, is off the charts. It might even be worse than the Doctor Who ones. It really is.
That is those two are the contenders. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They're awful. They're absolutely ghastly. They really are.
They're so fucking full of themselves too. They're so sure that they're right.
But you know what's
and yet
funny?
They
They're so
constantly
behind.
fail. They make me feel like fucking Thanos.
Oh, I'd love to snap. Believe you me.
To be so sure you're right, yet to fail anyway.
What's so funny? It's true what Rev was saying earlier. They were so fucking enthusiastic for that stupid Jodie and Yaz romance. And what's funny is they're behind because there's dozens of romances and things, and no one's cared. No one's given a shit. No one's cared.
Yeah, even the Tennant Rose romance has largely been. It's not aged so well. A lot of people now, well, a lot of us were into that in our naivete back in the day. Now, people widely consider that was the beginning of like the crack in the hole forming. Like, oh, you're going to let the Doctor have relationships with humans, are you? Oh, yeah, that's great. That won't change the canon.
It was a Pandora's
the idea of
box.
that.
Yes.
It was a Pandora's box. Although at the time it didn't seem like a Pandora's box. It was abused later by the same people that introduced it to be a Pandora's box.
You know, Price's profile picture doesn't suit his voice, man. It's like, oh, look, I'm a little puppet with a little crown, and I'm like 7 foot tall with the deepest voice ever seen. My goodness.
Have you seen yourself when you talk, Ryan?
No.
You don't match either.
I'm pretty sure I once made a video about a reaction that Price of Reason had to something, because I remember distinctly cutting around that Akbar puppet and putting it in a thumbnail. So that's interesting. And yeah. Anyway, I think it's probably time that we get down to the task at hand, because we have got a lot to go through and there's going to be a lot of discussion and deliberation, and that would be ranking Series 4. But before I do that, shout out to TJAP Steve, one of our mods and most loyal fans and friends of the channel, who has donated to the Princess of the Fans Diaper Fund with 10 Will of the Fans memberships. Thank you very much. Steve is a legend. We love it. You lucky people getting to join the Grift Force for free. You are so very lucky. I expect to see some emojis in the chat. There's all kinds. There's Rip Doctor Who, there's Trump, there's variations of me, and there's a shooty as Gatwa. So there you go. And yeah, we're going to get the old spreadsheet on the screen in a second, and we can start talking about this horrifyingly arduous task of ranking Jesus Christ, we're going to do it again, aren't we? Season 4 this time. Series 4, sorry. So yeah, we've got this lovely spreadsheet that I've made that's not particularly eye-catching, but it works quite well. And several episodes that we need to organize into the 14 worst to best.
So are the specials? So are the specials going to get like their own?
Yeah, that's
own
next
analysis. Oh, that's a shame.
Why you want to do that?
So the Kylie Minogue one is not.
There's really not that many of them. We could do that all in one go.
That's why I called for us to do this half an hour ago.
You did?
Yeah.
You did.
Let's just see how we do.
Okay.
See how we do. If the time goes on, then we'll include the specials too. Then fine. But opening opinions. Anybody?
Unicorn and the Wasp has to be the worst one, clearly.
I'm inclined to agree, but only because all the others are much better. But that's me. Please don't hold back.
I'm gonna
call us
say
retarded. Call us whatever you want. Just,
I'm gonna say something that I don't think many people are gonna like me saying, but I usually when I watch this, I almost always skip over the Doctor's daughter. Almost
Really?
always. Yeah.
I'll be more inclined to now because Georgia Tennant is an absolute fucking mental case.
It's a good story.
It's insane. She breastfeeds 3-year-old kids.
Oh well, I don't want that thought in my head. Low budget critical drinker. My goodness, but I wouldn't.
That's saying something. If you watched Critical Drinker since he was like sub 100,000 subs, like I did, his old mic was trash.
That guy, I swear, he must have a deal with YouTube because there's no way your fucking videos get 2-3 million when you have no keywords in your title, you barely use tags, you barely do anything, and you have basically a thumbnail where you've basically stolen an image from Getty Images or whatever.
Well.
Jesus Christ, Goldie's got a fucking axe to grind with the Critical Drinker. Are you sure you're okay,
no,
mate?
I'm just saying.
Could you think he's the worst YouTuber since Mr. Beast?
The actual content that he makes, the stuff he says is pretty correct.
No. Very high quality content. The problem is though, is that YouTube has no sort of opinion. It doesn't really say like, oh, this video I think is a good video because it analyzes this well. You know, it looks everything from the perspective of SEO, doesn't it?
Superficiality, yeah, of course. It's all about clickbait, which is why I laugh when people get angry about clickbait. It's like, well, what do you fucking think we're gonna do? How the hell else are we going to survive? You know,
that just came out of nowhere. I just
it was really funny.
The low quality version of I forgot what I said. Something Critical Drinker. But I will say, folks, that although I enjoyed The Doctor's Daughter as an episode, I usually just skip over it after the Santaran 2-parter.
Also, like in The Doctor's Daughter, they left it very open as to what happens to her. And so because
they never go back to for some reason.
My buddy really liked that. He really liked her as a character, although I think he just wanted to bang her. But he wanted her to get her own spin-off.
Yeah, because
she has audiobook adventures, and they completely turn her and River into a girl boss duo.
No.
And then
it's terrible.
What's next is you've now got 3 doctors who are currently around, including Shooty, Tennant, Georgia, and maybe Rivers. Actually, no, you got more. You got Rivers Song, and they never go back to why there's extra kind of Time Lords around.
Chemo brain.
Oh, shut up, you.
Oh my god. Anyway, so let's get through this then. So Unicorn and the Wasp and Doctor's Daughter.
I don't think it really matters which order it is with those two. I think those are the two.
Oh, I mean, are they really? Is the Doctor's Daughter really that bad? It does have that moment at the end, that big speech from Tennant.
I'm saving my strength for arguing for the more important ones.
It's very open-ended.
Unicorn and the Wasp is worse because it's not even really a proper sci-fi story. And I will say Gareth Roberts, I know a lot of people like his views or whatever, but I don't think he's a very good writer because most of his stories, he seems to just write boring soap crap and then tosses in a barely thought out monster at the end, like the Lodger. your Capaldi one. So
I'll ask the chat what's worst.
But he's transphobic, Triple D. That means he's super based and great.
The Unicorn and the Wasp is one of those episodes where the Doctor doesn't do anything. He doesn't solve the thing. He doesn't save the day. He's a bystander in his own episode. And yeah, it was like the worst version of Clue. Oh, it was a preacher with a wasp tail in the library.
Yeah, it is a weird episode. I think they probably could have done it without having to have a giant wasp. The whole thing for me, first of all, I fucking hate wasps. I was petrified of them. Yeah, so when I thought, oh, we're gonna have an Agatha Christie. I like Poirot. That was a really good show. My parents used to watch. I used to watch it with them. And then it's like, oh, we're gonna have an Agatha Christie, so it's gonna be a whodunit, and it's a fucking giant wasp. Okay.
Yeah, everyone mentions the Wasp in Unicorn and the Wasp, but no one seems to mention the Unicorn, which is the name of the master thief female who's part of it. And yeah, that just
it was back in the era when having it turn out to be a woman was still kind of a novel concept.
The other thing that went wrong for the episode was the original plan was to try and explain why Agatha Christie goes missing for a couple. In real life, she went missing for about a week.
She did, yeah.
It was in seclusion. But they didn't, instead of going that angle, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, here's a wasp. Okay.
We got 83 people watching the stream and only 15 votes, guys. If you're watching or you're listening on your phone or something while you're doing the housework, pick up your phone, give us a vote. Let us know which one is the worst episode. It's either The Doctor's Daughter or The Unicorn and the Wasp. Please help us solve this.
Voting is for gays.
The Unicorn and the Wasp. It has to be.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Wasp being the worst.
Even if Georgia Tennant is annoying, it's still, I feel, the story is better than the Wasp one.
I like the big scene at the end where the Doctor vehemently refuses to ever use a gun. No matter what, he never would, kind of thing. I used to respond quite well to that in my younger, more liberal days. I still think it's Tennant acting very well, so I'm willing to put it above Unicorn and the Wasp, even though I don't think, for the record, that any of them are bad. I think they're all at least as the whole series is better than the worst that the other RTD series have done. You know what I mean? Like the worst that he's done with those series is shockingly bad compared to any of the episodes in Series 4. Even if he didn't write them. But you know what I mean. All right, let's see. Unicorn and the Wasp is winning. Is that the one we agree is the worst?
Yes.
All right, there we go. We're off to a start. Lovely. Unicorn and the Wasp. Why has my font disappeared? What?
You're all waspophobic.
Unicorn and the Wasp is number 14. No, number 13 is Doctor's Daughter, then, I suppose, since we haven't.
Big Wasp's great again.
We haven't nominated anything else. So Doctor's Daughter. Yeah, that one's pretty much a no-brainer. I don't know what happened. I set this all up so it would have the right font. Oh, well. Life's like that. All right, good. 2 down, 12 to go. Fuck.
Now it gets more difficult.
Now we're into the realm of, what we all kind of consider acceptable Doctor Who. So
Planet of the Ood, I think, was pretty boring. I might nominate that one. It was okay, but it was fairly average, to be honest. Oh, no, wait, actually, know what we'll say.
I like Planet of the Ood.
Partners in Crime is shit. I forgot about that one.
No, I love that one.
I don't think it's
I like Partners in Crime purely for the contrivance of how the Doctor and Donna keep missing each other, and then it builds up like that and builds up until eventually you get the, frankly, I think hilarious scene where they spot each other through the door and the window, and they're having like all this sort of silent communication, and they don't realize that ages ago the bad guys noticed them and they're all just watching them. I always laugh at that. I don't know if that's lame or whatever, but I
might disagree with the Poison Sky, the second parter of the Sontaram. I really don't like that episode. I think it's one of the weaker ones.
And then
all right, so we've
ending where he sets fire to the basically saves
the atmosphere.
Yeah.
That ending, man. That ending where the Sontarans, they fucking got him. because he threatens them and is like, "Nah, we don't give a shit. You're gonna die. We're gonna die. Well, that's a bloody win." And then that little rat bastard just turns it all and is like, "Ah, shit. What the fuck's Midnight doing there?"
A couple of people in chat said Midnight is lost. And in opinion,
get the fuck out of here.
What I'm saying is Midnight is extremely polarizing. I like it, but I also understand why a lot of people don't like it.
I liked it.
What I thought the universal opinion was that it's one of the bestest episodes ever.
No, it's not. It's not universal.
Dissent on
Will's gaslighting us. I've never
I'm
heard
not
anyone
gaslighting
say
you.
it's a bad
I'm not
episode.
gaslighting you.
Exactly. I'm with you, Ryan. I'm with you. I've only heard, 11 out of 10 for that episode.
Well, everyone's tasted
people in the chat were saying who was saying it in the chat.
I've heard Mudcrab said it. Someone else earlier on said it like ages ago in the chat. It was like when we were still just talking casually. It began when it first came out. I remember a lot of people saying, like my friends and stuff, saying that that was shite. And then I was like, oh, actually, I quite liked it. But then as time went on, it aged a bit like Boomtown, as far as I've seen.
No, because it was way better to begin with.
Yeah, some people think that Boomtown is excellent, and some people think that Midnight.
Some people are idiots.
Okay, so there's TV says Midnight sucks.
I'm gonna make it clear to everyone.
Midnight does not suck.
Midnight is good as sort of a bottleneck, low budget episode. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it. I like it well enough. But
Midnight is the perfect mix of Boomtown and Gridlock, mainly because the legacy of both of those episodes you can combine for the legacy of Midnight. I mean, before the coronavirus crisis, right, a bottle episode, everyone, packed in, you really wouldn't understand that within the context of, say, the mid to late 2000s. As for Boomtown's reputation, it could show you all what a show could do with a minimal budget. And with Gridlock, of course, everyone's stuck in a fucking motorway. Now, with Midnight, you've got both those factors. The low budget, and everyone's trapped together. And that's why the reputation of that episode has just increased so much that it is.
But have you read any of the messages I've put on the screen?
No.
Like, I've put about half a dozen comments on the screen saying they don't like Midnight.
I think you don't
what
like
I'm
the
saying
episode
is,
and
all
you're
I'm saying
cherry-picking.
is, we may like it, but it is kind of Marmite. So
Well, the
I wanted to
journey's
give
in.
everybody a chance to address that before carrying on.
Jesus Christ, you called it Marmite. That's like the most insulting thing you can say.
Because Journey's
I
End.
sometimes have appreciation.
Marmite forever.
Oh, you're a savage.
Why isn't Fires of Pompeii?
Says the
on
Australian with Vegemite. It tastes like Marmite rolled in dirt.
Ooh.
Exactly. You just said it tastes superior.
At least
It does.
introduce us to Capaldi.
Yeah, Fires of Pompeii. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
okay.
one,
So look, all right, let's just talk. What's number 12? I
Midnight.
guess Midnight. We all basically none of us agree that Midnight is a contender here, but the chat seems to. So
Will's
You
been
had- you
replaced
gave
by
me
a
a heart
pod
attack,
person.
Yeah, so
no, RTD has been replaced by a pod person.
Well, I want to say the Lazarus experiment doesn't deserve to be 13 either. I just want to see that either as well.
Thank you.
Stop talking, Triple D. We need you for defending Midnight.
All right, you fucking people. I like you all very much. Let's agree on one that's number 12, and let's just ignore Midnight for now. Planet of the Ood, I think, is too good. I think it's very sympathetic. It does more with the Ood than they got in the two-parter, in the Satan Pit one. I like the ending, which creeps the fuck out of me. Where what's his name? The guy who plays Percy in Blackadder. He pulls his face off and he turns into an Ood. That's fucking terrifying.
With his hair medication, right? They do something to his hair. That one's a good one.
He's been slowly poisoned to turn into an Ood by Ood Sigma, and it also establishes the Song of Freedom, which plays at the end of the whole series, which I really like. So that's just from a personal standpoint. So I don't think Planet of the Ood is number 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the first on-air version of a Sigma male in Ood Sigma, so you can't put it that low.
And it's like you have that infamous line where the Ood is like going, "You need a drink, sir. Take a drink."
Yeah. Please have a drink, sir. Please have a drink. And then that's literally the same scene. I watched a recap earlier on just to refresh my memory of the series.
And you just like, pause.
That scene is fucking hard to watch. So yeah, damn, this is really hard, Ryan. Like you said, they're all really quite good at this point.
Partners
and
in crime, I'm going to say.
Yes, Partners in Crime. It probably
Crime.
is.
Yeah.
I think Partners in Crime is right. Yeah, because even though it's actually, I think it's all right, and it has a lot of funny.
Fun fact about that story: the black girl, Penny, her name is the one.
She was meant to be the companion, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was going to be companion, that actress, and the doctor was going to fall in love with her. It was going to be another big romance.
You mean the reporter who gets interrogated?
Yeah.
In the scene where they're looking at each other through the windows. All right.
Yeah, she was going to be the companion, no Donna. It was just going to be her, and she was going to fall in love with the doctor. But then Catherine Tate came back, so she was relegated to being just an arsehole.
Catherine Tate coming back was a fan thing, wasn't it? It was more or less. I heard it was like by popular demand, the Catherine Tate thing.
No, she was almost universally hated before season 4.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
The Runaway Bride was not a big.
I didn't like the Runaway Bride, but I liked her.
I don't like Donna, to be honest. I think she's annoying.
I do now. I really dislike Donna now, but that's more about her daughter than it is about her.
Yeah, they somehow ruined her storyline with the recent specials. So I thought that the way it ended with her previously was the way it should have ended, and I don't think they benefited from bringing her back with a son daughter.
So I say everyone else goes on about can't stand male characters being undermined just for this new girl boss. When Donna is the one, not only the original, but one of the worst. She gets his powers and she uses them better than he does. When literally that's the worst insult you can do to a hero. Other stories do that in reverse. They have someone else get the hero's powers and abuse them, like Faith, for instance, in Buffy, who's a slayer that goes completely crazy with Buffy's powers, whereas Russell T had such little respect for the character of the Doctor. Even then, he actually did it in reverse. And I will say, I think there was also, even then, to us, even from the start, I think there was an issue of they were terrified to just make the Doctor the hero because they were scared that would look sexist because he's a male hero. So they'd often undermine him through female companions. Well, they did. And that is, he only saves the day in one of the 4 season finales in the Russell T Davies era. Tuesday, that's the only one he saves the day, and it's his companion, and every other time.
That's interesting. Yeah,
I actually like in Partners in Crime at the end when the nanny dies.
Oh, when she gets totally betrayed by the parents because they don't need her anymore. Yeah, she gets what she freaking deserves. Short-sightedness.
There's a pleasant feeling. I don't. It's like you guys said. Maybe in another season, this would be a very decent episode. It's just that there's so many good episodes in season 4, series 4.
I mean, if you drop Partners in Crime into series 14 with Gatwa and somehow had a different Doctor and it wasn't Gatwa, then it would be by far the best, by miles the best. But But yeah, in this stacked deck, it's really difficult to put it any higher. Kind of a shame. The other contenders at this point, then, for next is Planet of the Ood, Northern Sky, and Midnight.
Well, a few episodes need to be added to that list. I mean, the Sontaran Stratagem, the 2-parter around the Sontarans compared to the rest of the episodes on the season 4, series 4 lineup. It's not the strongest, although they're both perfectly fine episodes. And another one I put on there personally would be Fires of Pompeii. As much as I love historical episodes, the villains were a bit interesting. The story was solid, but solid isn't really enough for series 4, especially considering.
I mean, compared to the 4 that we've got on the list already, solid is
Voyage of the Damned.
Does anyone really have that much of an issue with Voyage of the Damned? I think
to me, Voyage of the Damned is the greatest example in New Who of a Doctor Who movie, and I really do like that episode. And another reason, Yeah, it is a bit sappy. That's why I describe it as a sort of like Doctor Who
Women can't drive forklifts. That's all I remember out of that one. She could have just stepped off the forklift and got out of the way. She could have done everything. No, but she crashed.
There's no reason why Astrid Peth had to die. Yeah,
the brakes got cut.
Kill her off because they bring Kylie Minogue into Doctor Who canonically with Judy. So
yeah, I know.
Wait, Voyage of the Damned
There's
wasn't
two
a
of her now,
special.
yeah.
It wasn't a special.
It was a Christmas special, Voyage of the Damned. Yeah.
And is it on our list here?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I go by the box sets. It's listed as episode 0 of the box.
Well, it had Kylie Minogue in it. That's already you got to get a
major
few points for that.
Yeah.
She was actually good in that episode.
She was very good. I like that.
Voyage of the Damned was the most viewed Doctor Who episode in the New Who era. I think that factor needs to be ever. Really?
Well, no. Wasn't it 10.3 million people were watching it live?
Yeah.
No.
What is the rating for that? I can't remember. You carry
Voyage
on.
of the Damned was 13 million. City of Death was about 16 million.
Oh, okay. So actually, yeah. Okay, so not ever then. Yeah. All right. That's actually, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, whatever. It's the most viewed one of New Who, so there's that. I don't see how it belongs in the bottom of the the middle somewhere.
Just out of curiosity, Ryan, will you still have the same viewpoint when it comes to the first episode of Whittaker's run? That it should be higher because there was a lot of people watching it.
For that particular series, absolutely, because I dare say for that series of Doctor Who, the first series of Jodie Whittaker, The Woman Who Fell to Earth was probably the best episode, along with, say, maybe Kablam.
We'll get to that in a few weeks, but I'd rather watch Voyage of the Damned than Midnight.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch Voyage of the Damned than Planet of the Ood. I'd rather watch, or maybe not. I don't know. Planet of the Ood, I'd say, is maybe just as good or better than Voyage of the Damned.
Okay, so what we're saying is the Poison Sky and Sartaram, we're all agreeing on that.
I guess so. Yeah, that seems to be right. Yeah.
Okay, I'm not
what's better, the build up or the payoff?
The build up's better. That cliffhanger with what's his name in the car and everything like that, and the Doctor saying, "I don't know what to do."
Yeah, it was the first. Was it the first? No, it wasn't the first. The first was with the Master. The first was like sort of, oh, we've suddenly got this global new wave of technology that's going to kill everyone. They went back to that well so many fucking times. They even did it in the Giggle. So Poison Sky, no, Sontaran Stratagem is better than Poison Sky. Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
Correct.
All right, that works for me. They're okay. I enjoy it. It's worth pointing out again because people get pissed off in the chat. We're basically saying that this is the best series that the original RTD era had. Most of these episodes are watchable. If not, there's none that are unwatchable. They're all good. It's just
I have to make
less good.
We'd have to make a series tier list at the end of this. I mean,
we're probably gonna rank
the series. Yeah,
we'll rank like the top 2 of every series when we're done with all of this and have the final fucking winner, and then we could retire and hopefully live off of
just in time for the next season of Doctor Who. Then
yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, we should just keep us going long enough. Yeah. All right, so Planet of the Ood is still in the list. We can get rid of Poison Sky, Sontaran Stratagem. I guess Voyage of the Damned is in there, I guess, but only because the bad guy sucks ass. I think that the characters are cool. We've just talked about it. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a bit campy. It's a bit cheesy. It's a bit Christmas, but it's good, I think.
It's a mid-table.
Yeah, it's good fun. It's a romp, it's a romp. It's one of those kind of popcorn episodes that you can just watch and it's fine.
It's also the introduction of Wilfred.
It is the introduction of Wilfred Moore. That's an extra point. Plus, by the way, rest in peace, Mr. Bernard Cribbins, who passed away this week.
So what about Journey's End? Because I think
this week
he passed away a while ago.
Oh god.
Oh well, it only became news to me this week. Then
no, he passed away. I think just before shooting out where the season began. I think it was.
Oh, well, then why the hell was it brought up to me as if it was news then, for fuck's sake? Whatever.
It seems like maybe...
Yeah, he was very sick. That's why.
He was in his 90s or something. Yeah. All right. Well, then never mind. No news. And he may still rest in peace. Respect.
Good fires of a Pompeii in that damn thing as well. There's certain episodes, folks. Every time we do a tier list, certain episodes get ignored and creep up the list because they get ignored. Usually it's the starting episodes for each series, but in this case it's fires.
I don't know. I think we do a pretty good job.
The thing with Fires of Pompeii is that they tried to kind of crossbreed a historical with science fiction, which kind of didn't work. You had the real kind of what happened in Pompeii, like what caused everything. And I mean, it was a good episode. It introduced us to Capaldi, who was going to later become the Doctor. So you definitely had a hint that they were going to go with him.
And Amy Pond. Amy Pond was in that episode as well.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, forget that.
Well, I don't know, Goldie, what do you think? You seem to think the whole list is blasphemy, as you've been saying in the private chat. So why don't you cope and seed for us all right now?
Well, I mean, if we're discussing the Fires of Pompeii, I think, it'd be perfectly okay to put that next. I mean, Fires of Pompeii, again, is one that is overlooked, as Ryan says. But there is a lot of greatness in it, particularly the last 10 or so minutes where you have the moral dilemma that the Doctor has to, have in his head, and then Donna has to kind of push him to save someone. But the entire episode, it's a great example of them merging the whole historical and science fiction thing together. I mean, it was always one that I kind of thought was a bit boring, but the more I go back to it, I kind of like it a bit more each time.
I really like
it there.
I really like the ending where Donna convinces him, because initially he was gonna let them die.
Yeah.
I think that just shows the difference between him and his companions, and why it's important that he has a companion and that she has more compassion and it somehow affects him. I kind of like that whole dynamic. It's something that we don't see on the show anymore. Now it's just a bunch, like somebody said here, Shooty cries every second himself, so he doesn't really need anybody to be compassionate.
Yeah, the Doctor needs to be a god who is kept in check by the companion. The companion begins as kind of blind and needing a hand through the journey, but very quickly a good companion gets a read on the Doctor. Yeah, they get a read on the Doctor, and then they'll bring him down to Earth, which is pretty much the same story with every companion to an extent, especially in Modern Who. But it's one that I'm happy to watch happen over and over again in different ways with different actors. So that's part of the show.
You see it really with Tegan and Peter Davidson's Doctor, because she is always like on his case. The fact that he's kind of always late, or he always messes up somehow, and so she's always kind of making those comments like, "You always say this. We're always late."
All right, I don't want to put Pompeii next. I like it too much, but
then put Planet of the Ood.
Planet of the Ood is probably the right one. Yeah, it's good, but it's not as good as the others. So fair enough. What's next?
I don't want to say.
I guess we really have to start talking about Voyage of the Damned and Pompeii really next.
I think Pompeii.
Journey's End. Put Journey's End next.
You don't like Journey's End?
I like it, but it's very flawed. Like the David Tennant blow-up doll that Rose gets is very convenient. The Doctor Donna.
The whole is a massive contrivance. Yeah, but it depends. I mean, the fake out generation.
I thought you were joking.
No, it's basically gets David Tennant blow-up doll with that clone. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And then there's the Deus Ex Machina at the end.
Yeah. The Daleks are built up so brilliantly as villains in the first one. And then
what final doesn't have a Deus Ex Machina though?
It's not the same.
I agree with you, Grant. A lot of New Who, particularly the finales, are filled with Deus Ex Machinas. very rarely been able to pull off a successful finale that's, you know, built up these stakes and then you resolved them in a way that makes sense. So no, I agree with you. It is a criticism.
Bad Wolf ends with a
even
Deus
though it
Ex
doesn't apply
Machina.
to a lot of the other ones.
Parting of the Ways is a Bad Wolf is a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
because she just. What about Series 2? That's not really a Deus Ex Machina because it's built up in the first episode.
All of them back through. It sucks all of them back through the portal.
Yeah, but
that's the same thing.
It is built up over the 2 episodes. It's not like they're just sort of out of nowhere. Suddenly, Rose has the power of time. You know, like in Series 1, where at least in the second series, there's a plausible reason for why this technology works, and then they use it in reverse to, reverse the effect. So that actually, I wouldn't say is a Deus Ex Machina. It's more of a Chekhov's gun. Series 3 is the ultimate Deus Ex Machina. Is just like, let's wish the Doctor back to
Space Jesus.
Space Jesus.
Yeah, Space Jesus.
Jesus hybrid.
What's the how do they fix shit in Journey's End again? I can't remember anymore.
Donna flips a switch.
Oh, she becomes the Dr. Donna and just knows everything.
But I will say this is that when you have a fun show that generally entertains with a good cast and better intentions than what we're seeing these days, you can let it slide. You can sometimes
I would let it
slide.
I'd let Journey's End slide because the Dr. Donna is built up all the way through the series.
Yeah, I'm not as harsh on
it's more like a bad wolf
through the episode. That's the whole thing. That's
out
of the 40-minute episode. That's like at the 26-minute mark where that all gets
and
resolved.
you get the mind wipe at the end as well in Journey's End, which is
that's why I will point out that a lot of these. Yeah, I'll point out that a lot of these New Who finales are filled with Deus Ex Machinas, but the reason I'm more sort of lenient on them as opposed to like Shooty's finale is because even though you do have those Deus Ex Machinas, you do have consequences for the characters afterwards. Like with the Parting of the Ways, it causes the Doctor to regenerate. With Doomsday, it causes Rose to go away forever. And I suppose with Last of the Time Lords, you could say the Master dying, but he's not really dead. So maybe, that is just a Deus Ex Machina. With this one, you have Donna having the mind wipe in that whole sequence, which is very sad. So I won't be as harsh on them.
Yeah, I'd say Dr. Donna is more like another bad wolf. It's sort of it's shit. What's the word? It's I can't think. They talk about it in other episodes. It's mentioned beforehand. Foreshadowed. That's the
foreshadowing. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, but Handy, the second David Tennant's really bad though. You admit that was one of the weakest things they did. Was having another one just.
That was just to try and tie one off on Rose and 10. Just to have another.
How many of these fuckers are around? You have the Meta Crisis Doctor in another universe. You have the 14th Doctor. Yeah, we created that whole list, didn't we? And then according to Russell, according to Russell, every single Doctor has bi-generated, which means that there's now a clone of all them. Yes.
If you include all the children, there are infinite Doctors. Yeah.
Actually, so bi-regeneration means that every universe is destroyed.
The other thing we didn't factor in when we were working out how many Doctors there would be if all of them since the little random dimension jumping black girl had also bi-generated retroactively, every one of them would go off and have a different story and thus a different regeneration under different circumstances, thus would bi-generate. So it automatically becomes there are infinite exponential amounts of Doctors running around in the universe.
No, that's the whole Time Lord species. It's just the Doctor.
Just
all the generations.
It must be.
But also, every universe is blown up because remember, in Journey's End, the only reason he stopped the Dalek from destroying every universe is because he has a regeneration, and that's how he's able to create, the Dr. Donna. So if there's another universe created where he didn't regenerate, he wouldn't be able to do that. So and if that is the same mystery, which it would, then Davros would blow everything up. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, in another universe where the Doctor never actually is, then that universe is destroyed as well by.
You mean Turn Left?
Well, that's why Turn Left. I don't think I saw someone said turn left should be low enough, be low in the list.
It's a bit like how
it's a real thinker.
It's a bit like how in season 2 of the CW Flash series, you have Zoom, which his whole goal is to destroy the multiverse, and he builds that device. But, you know, it takes the Flash to stop him, and he does that successfully. But somehow, a few seasons later, when they have Crisis on Infinite Earth, they need these hundreds of superheroes to come together to do basically the exact same thing. It's kind of, you know, they've done the same thing before, and the stakes were...
The CW Arrowverse is no longer an example of competent storytelling. So.
Yeah, the CW is no longer, or hopefully it would never was, an example of anything good.
All right, it's going to have to be then either Fires of Pompeii or Voyage of the Damned.
Fires.
No, not Voyage of the Damned. Put Fires of Pompeii up there.
I don't know. Vote, guys. Vote.
From Voyage, I vote for.
Right.
No, Fires.
Will's gonna come in with the ballot dump and put Voyage.
I don't know. I got one Voyage, one Fires. Go on.
Can we just put our hands up for each
All
one?
right. Who says Voyage of the Damned is worse? Oh wait, you can't put your hands up. 3 of them can't put their hands
I'm
up.
a T-Rex. I've got tiny wee hands. That's not fair. That's prejudice.
For Christ's sake.
Wait, the question is if Voyage of the Damned is in 8th place?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
All right,
Yeah,
fuck
me
it.
too.
There we go.
Why?
Because we have very little time. And
I hate agreeing with bloody Goldie.
It's a mid-table episode. It's good. It's exactly where it needs to be.
Yeah,
exactly.
Fires of Pompeii is better. I think.
No, that's ridiculous.
Well, because it does have the through line of how much
Aldi.
death follows the Doctor, which is the theme of the series.
Oh, okay.
No, I like Fires of Pompeii to be higher.
Basically,
So, someone mentioned a second ago about turn left scraping through, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm starting to agree with that. I think we haven't been talking about it enough.
Well, I like it a
One
lot.
of the best episodes, along with Midnight. 2 examples of like
think it's
episodes
much
that
better
are
than
both
Midnight.
complete triumphs. Both of them.
I would put
Midnight's
Midnight
better
below
than-
either of these. So
Yeah, but I'm doing
already...
my damnedest to get Midnight as high as I can. So even if it means throwing another episode that I like under the bus, that's what I'm going for.
you really like
Turn
Midnight,
left
don't
is
you?
good as
I'm with
everyone
this by
makes out.
committee. This is not my list. I would have Midnight far lower.
Well, if you
Is it
if
This
you
is
just
most
go-
certainly not my list.
Even though I like Midnight, I'd still put it below like Pompeii and Voyage of the Damned.
I'm gonna
Turn
be like
left.
I'm gonna be like a cleaning Nazi now, Goldie. Get rid of the damn episodes that we've already covered.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
A cleaning.
I need to do my sort of halfway through tidy up, don't I?
See,
Yeah.
Turn Left, I'd actually like to nominate next. I don't think it's quite as good as people make out. It's another one that makes out Donna as the most important person, which I don't like. I hate the way they undermine
But at
it.
one
Everyone's
stage
like,
she was.
Nah, she annoys
For
me
one
that way.
moment.
It's
I
not
mean,
as well thought out as- because it
Let me
doesn't
explain
act-
what I like about Turn Left. What I like about Turn Left is that it shows you a universe where the Doctor isn't around, and it shows
But
you
it
like
doesn't-
the alternate repercussions of everything that would have happened.
see,
Well, I mean, if you like episodes where the
doesn't-
Doctor isn't around, why did you vote so much for Love and Monsters to be so low?
No. I'm talking about not one where he's just not around, one where he cannot be around because
He's
he's dead.
dead. Yeah.
But you see, it
One where
doesn't.
we
That's,
see
that's where it
all
falls
of
down.
the catastrophic things that would have happened if the Doctor hadn't been around to stop it.
But
From
well, that's what I was
Runaway Bride onwards, so you get 2 seasons
that's-
worth of what?
no, so I was going to say was I know what you're saying, but that's where I think it falls down because it actually doesn't hold up that way. Because when you look at it, like things would be a lot worse. Like, for
Well,
instance,
yeah, I mean,
that-
they're all in camps, though, aren't they? They're like literally having to get rid of the homeless because a nuke blew up in London and took out Buckingham
the
Palace.
Daleks would have taken over the Earth in 1930s Manhattan, and Dalek Khan would have never needed to go back and rescue Davros. That's what would have happened if he died at that point.
Yeah,
No, that was
yeah,
after,
he would.
wasn't
That's
it?
Runaway Bride, right?
yeah,
Runaway
true, yeah.
Bride is the turning point. So then, actually, yeah, the Daleks in Manhattan isn't really dealt with. That would have.
Yeah,
been
you're
very
right. It's a
different.
terrible episode based on that. Put it up.
And I just
No, I'm just saying that, like, when it's so complicated heavy, it's really even. Also, why are the stars going out? The Daleks haven't stolen the air. That's what I mean. Like, shouldn't if they'd stolen the Earth, you would have seen like the whole. So I mean, it doesn't.
Stars are going out because the Doctor is not around to stop the destruction of creation. Because there are adventures that we do not see. The fine gentleman who's not black or female.
Actually, yeah, Turn Left is very good, but now that we're actually talking about it, there are a lot of times when the world could have ended that don't really get dealt with.
The other thing with
yeah, he's right. The whole business of Daleks in Manhattan would have ended very, very differently.
But the other thing with Turn Left is
Donna wouldn't even have been born. She would have it would create a paradox if she was able to change the history. She wouldn't be able to turn left. Because then that would make the Daleks in Manhattan go south. The Doctor's not there to stop that, which means Donna's probably never born.
In theory, he would have been, because we did have the regeneration of the Doctor when he's in the morgue. When that scene where he regenerates in Doctor Who, the movie, into Paul McGann.
Yeah, but we're talking about from the Runaway Bride.
Where he's half human.
From the Runaway Bride, everything that happens to the Doctor after Runaway Bride in his personal timeline, not all of time, in the order that they happen, every episode of Series 3 no longer has the Doctor there to make sure it doesn't go south.
Carrie Knights is another one would have taken over the Earth in Shakespeare's time.
The Carrionites, yeah, they would have done it. Yeah, they wouldn't have. Yeah. So even before the Daleks in Manhattan, they would have.
But when
it is a bit of a gaping plot hole, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have to be fair.
And also, I think it gets a bit too much kind of soapy, if you know what I mean. Like it's too many bits of Donna and her family. It's like I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. It's a good episode, but I don't think
it's a great episode. But
perfect. Yeah, I mean it's good, which is why since we are putting it up against other really good
I give it about a 6.
Yeah,
I'd say Midnight better than it for that reason. Midnight just holds together more coherently and is a lot better.
Well, to be fair, we can't really point out those things that you guys brought up are plot holes, because then essentially the whole show would be one giant plot hole, because there's going to be an episode, as this has been the case, hundreds of times. The Doctor will go to present day, but then there's hundreds of adventures that he's going to have set in the past where there are aliens that are going to take over the world. At that point in time, he hasn't gone back to stop them, so he shouldn't be in the present to then be able to go back and stop them. So we can't really apply that. That's the sort of suspension of disbelief you have to have when you're dealing with a time travel show.
Well, Doctor Who requires suspension of disbelief and lots of it. But like I was saying before, when you have a production that's fun and a good cast and good writing, there's enough goodwill from the viewer to kind of say, okay, well, I won't think about it too much.
But one thing I don't get, the biggest kind of plot hole, as I said, I can maybe live with like the Daleks and Manhattan one. But as I said, I still don't get why the stars are going out, because that's meant to be as a result of Davros' reality.
It's the result of Davros's reality bomb.
And
it could simply be as a result of the Doctor's not around and all of his adventures that we don't see to save all of these systems. Yeah, everything reality unravels.
It's meant to be the reality bomb, though, because Rose says it's the darkness. And if that's the case, why is the Earth not being taken? If you
the darkness was in Torchwood episode season 1.
This is deep. I'm enjoying this conversation.
So yeah, Turn Left. No one disagreed with any of this so far, from what I've heard. Turn
Left is next.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT why the stars went out.
I don't care what ChatGPT thinks. I care what we think. All right, Turn Left. Yeah, lower than I thought it would be, but there you go.
A lot lower.
Now we're at Midnight. I think Midnight's got to be next.
I agree.
Over Journey's End.
I mean, Journey's End.
Yeah, Journey's End has too much repercussion. Too much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I disagree, but I'm outvoted, so I'll.
Yeah, I voted Journey's End
I've
as
been
well.
outvoted. I've been outvoted a few times.
Democracy's wrong when it's against me.
Next up is Journey's End.
I think it is, yeah.
And then, see, now we're left with like the Silence in the Library, which is really good.
Yes.
Stolen
episodes,
Stolen
yet
Earth
again.
is fantastic.
Oh shit!
Because
Stolen
of
Earth snuck through. I forgot about that one. The second part.
Stolen Earth's still here, but I think that the reason it is still there is because it has that epic moment where all of the characters come together and call the Doctor.
But
I'm pretty sure we're all going to agree that it's not as good as either of the library.
Yes.
Silence in the Library is good because it has that kind of that whole creepy kind of ending. You know, the standard Moffat trying to do the repeating lines with like.
Hey, you heard about that?
Silence of the Library is the I think number one.
Yeah.
Silence in the Library.
I would have Silence of the Libraries 1, Foresters 2. That's how I would have it.
I saw a post from someone a few weeks ago where they pointed out something that I didn't notice at the time, but there's one particular scene in Silence in the Library where River goes to fix the Doctor's bow tie, but he's not wearing one yet because 10 doesn't wear bow ties. So it goes to show that Moffat really did have it all planned out.
Wow.
Cool. I'd like to see that. I'd be interested to catch that. So there you go. Series 4, Unicorn and the Wasp, Doctor's Door, Partners in Crime, surprisingly low. Poison Sky, Sontaran Stratagem, Planet of the Ood, Voyage of the Damned, Fires of Pompeii, Turn Left, Midnight. I still think Midnight should be lower, but I like it. Journey's End, Stolen Earth, Forest of the Dead, Silence in the Library. Yeah, agreed.
I think we should give Stephen Moffat a round of applause for topping 3 series in a row with one-off villains, which were planned at the time for all of them.
I disagree with Girl in the Fireplace. I'm sorry. I would have the.
So did I, but you know,
so did I.
It is, yeah.
But it came up that way.
I wasn't here last week, but I seem to have got my list almost down to a T.
The thing with Girl in the Fireplace is it was the first time I.
Now let's cover the specials, Dobby. I'm sorry.
We will. Let Dobby speak, and then we'll cover the specials. No. Go ahead, Rev. You say what you're going to say, and then I'll queue up the specials. Well, you can speak while I'm doing it.
No,
because I have to still write.
I just completely forgot what I was going to say.
Oh well, someone say something then while I'm busy.
Wakanda forever.
There's only 5, so it's not much, is it? I thought we'd have. Yeah, you're probably right, actually, to do it this episode. Okay, End of Time 1, End of Time 2.
That's back when those specials actually meant something.
When they actually were special.
Right, yeah.
When we were all dreading the replacement of David Tennant.
Are we forgetting one?
No.
Never mind. No, that's right. That's good. Yep.
There's 5. Next Doctor, Planet of the Dead, Waters of Mars, End of Time, End of Time. I don't know. It's either Next Doctor or Planet of the Dead, right? The first, the fifth.
Oh, Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead has to be.
Yeah.
Like, Planet of the Dead is by far the weakest.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree. Go on, though. Speak first. Go on.
Me or?
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, End of Time Part 2 is absolute bollocks. It's the most self-indulgent crap where like he goes about, I could do so much more, and then
I love that speech.
I hate it. And next
I love that scene.
So I hate it. It doesn't make sense.
I'm the complete opposite. I think that End of Time. I think that End of Time Part 1 is boring. It's just build up it's.
I personally would probably put as the weakest Planet of the Dead, then Next Doctor, then EOT1, then Waters of Mars, then EOT2.
And I know it wasn't written with this intention because I know it wasn't written with this intention because I know it wasn't written with this in mind because it wasn't like established at that point. But it's another example of how Moffat and his changes to the canon at times benefited the show in the sense that people said back in the day during End of Time Part 2 when that came out that why is the Doctor going around seeing all of his companions? It doesn't really make much sense. You know, he's done this time and time before and he's never gone and visited them. But when Moffat established the 12 regeneration rule applies, it kind of makes sense, because that was kind of a reason why Ten was so reluctant to let go, because his next life was going to be his last life. So he was kind of saying goodbye in a sense. So that's an example of Moffat actually, you know, adding stuff to the canon, and it actually makes sense and kind of complements the stuff that came before.
I still don't like both end of time specials. I'd have at the bottom, because I agree with you about the first part, Golden Age Geek. It manages to be so boring and dreary, but also like really camp and stupid, like the master race bit at the end, and then the last 2 minutes are just
yeah, actually.
Oh, the master is an abomination in that story. It's like dinner time.
He's not the master. He's literally a zombie.
I felt so immersed in End of Time, because I could really resonate with the master just not dying and always hungry and want to take over the universe. And everyone be's like me.
Eating the homeless, yeah.
Saying he could see himself in the character. He felt represented.
Well, I'm a big fat bastard, so I reckon related with being.
I miss Scotland.
I personally think the planet. I know, Triple D. Everything you have is like battered because it's Scotland. I did watch Lockdown from the Grand Tour, so I do know.
That's what happens when you constantly vote Labour.
But I will also say that Planet of the Dead, I think, is the weakest. Although, if the specials had actually been a Series 5, Planet of the Dead would have been a great introduction.
Don't forget about Lee Evans. Lee Evans playing a Welshman.
Well, also that was the very last role that he ever acted in that episode.
No, he was in a Jackie Chan film after that.
Yeah, he retired after that. The moment that ending happened, he called up his agent. He said, "I'm done with acting. I'm done."
Oh well, I guess. Well, there you go. I guess this is going to be more complicated than we thought. Then, I love the regeneration of Tennant, but then I'm biased because I started watching when it was David Tennant. So
the whole
just
concept,
as worried as any other normie back then when he regenerated. I was like, oh my god, what's going to happen now? And then it was fine, of course.
The whole concept of the next Doctor, likewise with the Doctor's daughter, is a gigantic bait and switch that needs to be exposed.
I didn't really enjoy the next Doctor. I didn't enjoy it that much. I thought it was all right.
It's really good. It's great.
I watched it recently, and it is a solid episode.
Yeah, it's a solid episode.
It's just better than the first time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was like, "What? Oh, fuck it."
I haven't watched it in a long time. It's rather forgettable, but maybe I should revisit it.
The premise,
like steampunk giant Cyberman or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. The premise of the episode, the idea, the next Doctor,
was Angel in it,
and Switch. But I think the next Doctor was really the first Doctor that the Cybermen were starting to age as a sort of, their design was sort of starting to look out of place.
I think Doomsday did that because he made them into the Daleks bitch boys, and they never really recovered from that. Whereas this story made them the main antagonist again.
And then they turned into the Borg, Series 7.
Don't worry, Whittaker will nail it with the Cybermen.
Where are we then? What's first? What's the worst?
I'm sticking with my vote of the Planet of the Dead.
Planet of the Dead first.
Anyone disagree?
Well, I disagree, but I'd rather see it than the next Doctor, so fair enough. It has to be one. Planet of the Dead should be at the end.
All right. So next...
Planet of the Dead is just... Yeah, that's awful.
It's forgettable. It's like from a soap opera and turn her into Lara Croft.
No, it's just as soon as I see that bloody desert, I just get bored out of my mind.
Well, that was supposed to be the first one. I mean, at one point they were thinking about Russell was thinking about doing Series 5. She was going to be the companion, and the main villain was going to be the Beast. That would have been quite cool. I would have liked to have seen the Beast as the main foe.
As in Satan.
Yes,
hasn't in
I would have watched that. Fuck's sake, Russell.
That bus, the flying bus from that episode, hasn't it been incorporated into like the expanded lore in like comics and novels and stuff? It's this one character, Idris Wilthime or whatever, how the fuck you pronounce that name.
Yeah.
No, Iris, you're wrong about. Iris does have a... Karen.
don't know what was going on there. Someone was talking. Someone else was talking. Go ahead, whoever. All right. Whatever. Let's just take control. What's next?
It's terrible.
What's next?
No, I'm just saying the bus thing.
the
Someone
bus
asked about the bus, but I said yes. It's been in 10 separate audiobooks as the main plot device.
No,
I think it has to be.
We can all scratch one of these off. Put Waters of Mars at the top. I don't think anyone's going to, push back on that.
It was
the best Tennant one.
Why are you thinking about it? Don't tell me it's the worst.
I really like End of Time too.
Well, here's the thing. Everyone said it's the worst. So if everyone said no one's mentioned Water of the Mars, by default it has to be the best one because not a single one has put it down as the.
I'm inclined to agree.
Water of the Mars, as I said, it's the best David Tennant one I think of them all.
What the hell just happened there? That's weird. Okay.
And then underneath that, I mean,
you get Time Lord Victorious, which was an interesting story that they should have gone with for longer, but they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, during the lockdown period, they did, the books, they did comics, and they did like escape rooms, didn't they? Which were built on the story.
All right, what's next? What's second best then? We'll do it in reverse.
End Time Part 1. So boring. So boring.
Second worst? All right,
yeah. End of Time Part 1, second worst.
And I would say the next Doctor, then End of Time 2.
All right.
Well, I disagree. I reverse, but okay. Well,
Does everybody disagree, or is it just you?
I mean, I'd have the next Doctor as number 2 if but that's just me.
I mean, one thing that doesn't get talked about enough is how in the end. The one thing I will give End of Time, credit for is Timothy Dalton because his performance was phenomenal in that. But one thing that doesn't get talked about and criticized enough is the fact that the 10th Doctor literally skydived through a building and just fucking survived. And Tom Baker fell like a fraction of that height and died.
Yeah.
As well.
I remember thinking, actually, why are we having all this build up to him regenerating if he can survive that?
I will say though, folks, Wilfred using a racial slur against the cactus people was very funny. It's a cactus.
Okay.
To the green cactus people. Mm.
Oh yeah, because it's the same as Balacathalata.
Shimmer? What's a shimmer? Shimmer.
Do you know who the old woman was meant to be that helps him out in it?
Yeah.
She was meant to be the Doctor's mum.
Really?
Yeah. But this was back when Russell kept some things a bit. This was back when Russell knew sometimes when to keep his mouth shut and kind of let the audience decide for themselves.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list. I don't really have any reason to disagree. It's not necessarily how I would have ordered it, but again, that's why I like doing it as a group because everyone has their different.
I watched these long after the fact, so maybe if I was watching them live, I'd have a different perspective because I would have had all that time in between to wait and then watch them. But I remember when I binged them for the first time, I was pretty unimpressed with most of them apart from Waters of Mars. Really,
I was pretty let down by the specials because I binged my way through the rest of them. I was like halfway through series 4 when I started watching it, like really dedicated myself to watching it. And then I quickly caught up and then the specials came out so like sporadically. I was
that was that first writer strike that we had.
Yeah.
2007 or 8.
Well,
the one that crippled all the good shows like Scrubs and stuff like that were all ruined by that. Yeah.
Well, the specials are a great example of what Doctor Who could have been if it was a streaming show back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. The idea of mixing a movie and a television show, which these episodes do try to do, a few well and a few badly. And I think if Doctor Who had headed into that direction in the 2010s, it would have killed it far quicker than the episodic model that they stuck to, with or without wokeness. I mean, this was the pre-woke era, unless you micromanage it with a fucking microscope.
That's one of the reasons why I like doing this as well, this ranking thing on this show, because we spent weeks railing and like beating our brains against the futility of Series 14. So what we're doing now is arguing as fans of something in a way that fans used to argue about the things they love. We're all arguing about what's best, as opposed to just sort of giving each other emotional support for how fucking terrible it is now. But we're going to get there.
All the specials are better than anything we have now, but in comparison to Series 4, I think that none of them, I don't know if any of those episodes are as good.
No.
So that rounds off
Wars
the
of
Russell
Mars
T.
is top
Davis
tier.
era.
Oh yeah, Waters of Mars is classic.
All right.
That's it then. That's the Russell T. Davis era, as we have done by committee, basically, with various, with the five of us and various guests popping in and out. And yeah, I'll eventually.
Yeah,
turn
and the
all of these
60th
into-
anniversary never ruined the Tennant Tate, legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through this whole thing trying to ignore that in my mind and remember it how I used to view the character, and I still prefer to think of the 10th and 14th Doctors as different guys.
Yeah, I'm just going to write the conclusion timestamp, and then hopefully we'll all have a good day.
Yep. Anyway, there you go. That will do for this episode of WhoTF Live. It has been almost 2 hours, so it's time. We've got 7 people who need to do outros, so we will crack on with that as soon as possible. Let's start with Price of Reason.
Yeah. Hey.
Please plug your stuff.
Oh, okay. So I have 2 channels on YouTube. There's the regular Price of Reason, and then there's Price of Reason Live. And if you get a chance, you're welcome to subscribe to those.
Nice. Is that all? You can have more if you want.
Oh, I mean, there's one thing that on the Price of Reason one, on the one with the blue circle, the recommended video is a really good investigation that I did together with John the White back in the day. And I'm very proud of the video. So if you get a chance to watch that, it investigates RTD's conversion into being more woke and all that other stuff.
Yep.
I have not seen that. I know what I'm watching as soon as I get off stream then. Thank you very much. Incidentally, just out of interest, is that supposed to be Admiral Akbar?
I mean, I made some alterations to it, but it is at least inspired by. Yes.
Right. Cool. All right. Divas, Dinosaurs, and Demons. Would you like to plug your shit?
Yeah, sure. I've just got a YouTube channel. It's the same name, Divas, Dinosaurs, and Demons. And I post my original fiction there. It's in the form of audiobooks with illustrations, and it's read out by professional actors. In fact, Sophie Aldred, who you may know as Ace, read out several of my stories as well. She's done about, I think, 21 episodes for me. The new ones are uploaded every week. So yeah, if you're interested in an indie creator or whatever, just subscribe to that.
Now that I actually have checked out before and I thoroughly enjoyed what I saw. You should definitely check that out if you are looking for some solid Doctor Who fan fiction. And there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Grant.
All right. So this week I'm doing on my other channel, not my AI channel. I'm doing it's a Doctor Who What If series, and the first one is what if the Ninth Doctor didn't regenerate when he did, and then continuing the story from there.
Interesting. I like that.
It'll
Rev?
be full audiobook production as well. So I'm going to be using like the AI voices and everything like that. It's going to be an audiobook.
Super. That sounds awesome. I'm definitely going to check that out as well. I love this stuff. Thank you very much. Rev, you're up, mate.
Hi. Yeah, I'm going to be doing sporadic live streams. I'll probably also be on Reality Basic Stream, if that's tonight. You can check me out on this channel Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have agreed for some weird reason to review Rings of Power Season 2. Don't know why. So I'm dreading that show for when it begins because, yeah, it's going to be worse than Batwoman. You can check me out on Hans Red Ravenwolf, which is my YouTube channel. I do live streams all the time. That's kind of my brand, touching on everything from Doctor Who to Star Trek to video games and Disney. So all over the place.
Lovely jubbly. Goldie?
As for me, let's see, 70 subs away from, what was it, 3,000? So if you haven't gone over and subscribed, please do that. I would greatly appreciate it. And I don't think I have any live streams scheduled, so just be more videos from me. And because the Doctor Who news is sort of drying up now, I'm going to start to move to the other stuff. There's a lot of nonsense going on with Disney, whether it's like actually the company itself or Snow White or something else. I'll start covering all of that because my channel's just been Doctor Who for the past like 10 months. And I mean, it's done pretty well. And to be fair, I've enjoyed it because I would rather make content about things I'm actually really passionate about. Even if it's crap Doctor Who, I still have, you know, that sort of fire in me to keep on talking about Doctor Who as it's affecting the franchise. So yeah, I'll just be doing loads of stuff over on my channel, so please go and subscribe. But next, I believe it's Ryan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching the 19th episode of WhoTF Live, not episode 9 as it says in the title. Hopefully Will can change that. Just goes to show that even the best of us can still do bloopers. As for me, expect a few more I say a few more. Expect a few videos for today. We are doing a reality-based show. No, Darby, you will not be on it because it's a one-to-one show with Roman of the Empire. Unfortunately, I won't be here next Sunday because I have an appointment to go to. And I also will not be on this Tuesday because I have another appointment to go to, which is a damn shame.
He's going to jail.
Yeah, he's going to
No, Ryan's getting his monkeypox diagnosis.
Yeah, and then automatically.
I'm getting my teeth done on Tuesday, and I'm gonna get, you know, a new kidney or something on Sunday. Yeah, I'm just getting new body parts. That's all.
When's the facial reconstruction surgery?
Delete.
But yeah, it's always a pleasure to be on this show. Plenty of timestamps from this show, and yes, I recently passed 2,700 subscribers, and that's the advantage to knowing lots of prominent creators and talking about any topic.
Man, that's fast.
So,
that's really good, man. You only hit like 2,000 like a few weeks ago. I remember when you did it.
Well, it was 2,600 about a week ago. We gained about 100, mostly because of millennial woes, and most of his audience are far more receptive to talking about all sorts of different things. His audience really doesn't like Doctor Who, I'll tell you that. But no.
Yeah, Ryan's going to come on stream in a couple of weeks and be like, "Hey, boys."
Yeah. Oh my God, that would be the worst. That would be the worst. Bman's trolling the fuck out of you, Ryan. He said you're getting a trans operation.
No.
He said you're having a court date and time to unsubscribe.
He's getting his skin darkened.
New teeth and new body parts.
Ryan's going to change into an Atreyan. He's going to be Atreyan. He's going to have a cowboy hat.
Nah, demons, like demons.
Woman, yeah. He's a black woman.
I'm an alternate Gupta. I'm white with a blue dot instead.
Nah, demons, like demons.
I love having control. All right, that's thank you very much, and thank you everybody who has watched this episode, episode 19, which I've already corrected now, of WhoTF Live. First things first. I know. You just need to refresh. First things first. Mephisto X gifted 1 Will of the Fans membership. Thank you very much. And Eris Rhoda then gifted 5 Will of the Fans.
And I was the one who received that membership, so I'm happy. Thank you.
Hey, very good. You lucky people. Join the Grift Force. Enjoy the emojis, and I will be adding and announcing some streams coming up soon for you, lucky people. Anyway, thank you to the chat and the mods who have been here for the duration. And if you're a lurker listening to this and you didn't make noise in the chat, come back and chat with us. We like you, and we don't bite hard. Anyway, I'll be pushing videos all this week. We have WTF Live Tuesday and Thursday, and of course, the next episode of this very show a week from now, minus 2 hours, where we will be ranking Series 5, the first of the Moffat era, the first with Matt Smith, and actually haven't watched it in a very long time.
My
so
favorite.
Yeah, I might really seriously need to watch that again to remember it properly.
Sorry, was that a joke? Your favorite?
Oh, you don't like Series 5? Series 5 is popularly held as one of the best.
Yeah, it is.
I never said it was the best, but I said it's my favorite.
I hear it overwhelmingly often, so yeah. Although I didn't actually enjoy it that much when it first came out. I love the 11th hour though. That's brilliant. Is anyone going to rebut any of this now, or can we wait till next week?
Well, I won't be here next week, and I'll be saying solid start, but then it goes fucking mental into Series 6, which I will be here for.
I like Series 6 too, by the way. But hey, that's just me. That'll do then for this episode. Thank you again to everybody. Thank you to our guests, Price of Reason and Divas, Dinosaurs, and Demons. Thank you to the panel, Grant, Gregory, Golden Age Geek, Rev, Ryan, and well, I guess I can thank myself too, but
yeah, good job.
Not necessary.
Oh,
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everybody. I love it. Yeah, it's really nice. For fuck's sake, fuck this shit. It's time to just wave at the camera and say, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop the